Alright, this is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. In this episode, we're going to compare the Hurom H70, which is the latest and greatest juicer, my favorite juicer that I use the most in my home, to the good old standby, still best-selling Solostar 4 that has gotten many good reviews over the years and is probably one of the best horizontal auger juicers you can buy for the highest yield, especially on the leafy greens and celery, which I know a lot of you guys may want to juice. Of course, this is an older design where you have to actually manually push in and feed in each single leaf or stalk or produce item you put in, and that's why honestly I don't use it much these days, and that's why I prefer the Hurom H70, where you basically just open this hopper, chop everything up, drop it in there, shut the lid, turn it on, and you can walk away and let the juicer do all the work without you. So clearly, from the ease of use standpoint, the Hurom H70 wins. Also, I mean, not to mention that using it is very easy because you just load it up, close the lid, walk away. When you're done, you literally get to spray it off with your kitchen sink sprayer, and in about 1 minute, it cleans without any scrubbing. Whereas on the Solostar 4, you'll probably have about 3 minutes of cleaning time overall due to the larger screen area on this machine that helps it to make the highest yield, but also can and will get impacted with pulp that you will need to scrub off the surface. So these are the main two differences in these machines. Definitely more work in the juicing process, potentially higher yield, whereas you're just going to have a lot easier time. Of course, the Solostar 4 is about half the price of the Hurom H70. If you guys want to get either of these two juicers at the lowest price, you guys want to make sure you guys use my coupon codes. When you use my coupon codes, the companies will share me a small commission so I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys. So I want to thank you guys in advance who will use my coupon codes to not only get the lowest price, but also allow me to continue to make these videos where I can pit juicers against each other that nobody else has done for as long as I have been doing it here on YouTube. So if you guys want to save 10% off on the Solostar 4, you can use the link down below and the coupon code will throw up right there, DJ, to save 10% off the Solostar 4. And if you guys want to buy the Hurom H70, you guys could use the coupon code Celery at HuromUSA.com to save 10% or maybe even more off the Hurom H70 juicer. With that, let's go ahead and get into a real brief synopsis of how these juicers work and extract juice, because that is kind of important. First off, we will start with the Solostar 4. This has basically a drum where you basically put the produce in, this feed chute, it then runs into the auger, which then chunks off little pieces at a time, sends it down the auger into the screen. So we're just going to go ahead and take this apart and show you guys the major parts of this. The main part to make this work is the auger, which is one of the largest augers or longest augers on a horizontal auger juicer. This means that it can basically crunch up the produce, and as it gets down to this stage, it's still crunched up and starting to squeeze, but then this stage is dedicated to basically crushing and squeezing out all the juice out of the fibers. How that works is that is inside this juicing screen, so as the pulp moves down this auger like a screw, it gets compressed and compressed, and if you're doing fruit, you know, the juice will come out out of these holes first, and if you're doing more vegetables, then the juice will come out these secondary holes here. So, you know, this is the major advantage of the Solostar 4 over any other horizontal auger juicer. This has absolutely the largest amount of hole sizes. You know, I know some juicers have been getting into making the holes and the screen size smaller because that makes it easier to clean, but also that shoots you in the butt because then you're going to get a shorter yield, so at the expense of cleaning. So yeah, this will give you the highest yield, and that's why I'm testing it today against the Hurom H70. The other thing to notice is that because this is a long run on this, this generally also tends to grind to a finer particle size, which, you know, the finer particle size you can grind to, the more nutrients and juice that is extracted. In addition, before all this juice comes out of the end of the machine, it then gets to go by this cap, which has a restrictor on it. So then basically it puts back pressure on the pulp to keep it inside to make sure it's fully wrung out and dry before it allows it to come out. Newer juicers have like really strong back pressure on things like celery, which actually tends to heat the celery juice up but wring it out even more, such as the medical medium models. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that design, because then you're oxidizing the juice a lot more at the expense of a little bit more yield. Whereas, you know, I believe there's a happy compromise, and the Solostar 4, I believe, has seemed to got it right. All right, over on the Hurom H70, works a little bit different way. We're going to go ahead and pull off all these juicing parts. The first juicing part you will see, instead of just a standard funnel, is they have a hopper. So you can feed things in one at a time in this hopper, which I suggest you don't do. The better way to do it is open up the hopper and load this entire hopper up with your pre-cut produce, shut the lid, and then what happens is this processing blade at the bottom inside here spins around and basically pre-cuts up to some extent and actually helps feed in the produce at a slow and moderate rate. This means this machine would rarely ever clog or jam because it's designed properly, whereas on one of these machines, if you cram things in there too fast, you're going to cause excess back pressure, the pulp's not going to come out, and then you're probably going to deal with some kind of parts breakage because you are stressing out the machine too much. That's why I love the hopper machines, because it moderates the amount of feeding to the speed the juicer needs, not the speed that you think the juicer needs, all right? The next step up on this is that there are no screens to clean. There are just two simple parts to clean. When you're done juicing, you have the juicing auger, which is a two-part auger, and you have the bowl. That's it. And how this works is, this is a two-piece auger. So when I put these up together, you'll see between here, there's like little slits. And that's basically, instead of the screen, as the produce goes down between the auger and the side of the juicing bowl, it gets crushed up, kind of like the auger and the screen is crushing up the produce. Now literally the bowl and the auger is crushing up the produce, and as the juice is released, what happens then is that the juice then falls inward between these cracks and then falls out the spout here, and then the pulp goes down the edge, and then the pulp comes out the pulp over here. So you can see this is a much different technique for juicing. Once again, screenless design. And once again, the main thing I want to point out here is the grinding length. I wish they made auger juicers with longer grinding lengths. It would make it, you know, more difficult to clean, but also they could get a finer grind. So like you could see the total processing length on the Solostar 4 is almost twice as much, because you have a longer run to basically grind up produce to a smaller size. That being said, if you guys want to grind produce up to the smaller size and get the highest nutrition and yield, you actually don't even want to use a juicer these days. You want to use a vacuum blender. So I'll put a link down below to the video I made comparing the Hurom H70 to vacuum juicing, which grinds to an even smaller size without oxidation and even the highest yield with a little bit more work on your part. Once again, that's why I love the H70. It makes your work minimal. And I know one of the biggest things I've seen over the many years selling juicers, I've been in business now since 1998, so over 25 years now, is that people stop juicing because the process is too difficult. If they got to deal with pushing produce in and take time out of their valuable day, they're not going to juice. If they got to sit there and scrub stuff at the end of juicing, you know, they're not really going to be motivated to juice. And that's really where I see the huge benefit of the Hurom H70 over any other previous juicer out there. Yes, it's true there are other hopper juicers, but they don't have the easy, clean system that saves you 3 to 4 times more time than using a traditional screen design in a hopper. That's why this is my absolute favorite machine that I use the most in my house, because it takes away the impediments of juicing. If you're one of those people that have gone to the gym after New Year's to lose some weight, but then you stop after a week or two, right? It's because it's too hard. You got to get in your car, drive to the gym, then you got to work out, right? That you're the kind of person that will want to buy the Hurom H70, because literally you could drop things in, shut the lid, walk away. You come back with your juice made, you just rinse it off, and you're done juicing. That's the whole process. No longer is it going to be laborious where you have to push produce each item in to the juicer. like on the Solostar 4. That being said, I know a lot of you guys have more time than money, and if you guys want a better extract and probably higher yield, you want to use the Solostar 4. So anyways, that's what we're going to find out today. Does the Solostar 4 really make more yield than the Hurom H70? Will it unseat the H70? And how long will it take to juice in both juicers? Well, let's find out, because we're going to juice even amounts of celery in both machines right now. All right, guys, so first up, we got to weigh in to make sure we have a fair fight. So we got 104.96, 104.96. Looks like we have a fair fight, so let's get juicing. All right, guys, first we're going to juice in the Hurom H70 to show you guys how easy it is. You could put whole stalks in there, but they're probably not really going to fit. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-cut the celery. Because I'm pre-cutting the celery, this is taking me more time. I will count this on the stopwatch. So we're just going to go ahead and start pre-cutting the celery, which doesn't take too long at all. I just have like a really nice knife, and just go down the line and cut it into like half-inch pieces. You can even do 1 inch, but I prefer half-inch or even a 1/4 inch would be better. It goes pretty quickly and easily. Cutting it up. Basically, you're going to either trade cutting up produce or pushing in produce. So I guess the question is, which would you prefer? I prefer totally cutting up produce instead of feeding produce in. Of course, some of you guys may prefer to feed produce in instead of cut it up. So that's why I'm giving you guys both options in this video, depending on the juicer you choose. So you can see literally within, 50 seconds, I got it chopped up. Now we're just going to go ahead and drop in the produce in the machine. And we got it loaded up pretty good. Next up, we're going to go ahead and turn the juicer on and get juicing. So the cool part of this process is now you don't have to do anything. The juicer does all the work without you. We're currently about 1 minute and 18 seconds in, and we have our first drops of juice coming out of the machine. Alright guys, as you can see, the Hurom H70 juiced all that celery non-stock, never clogging, never jamming. It did an amazing job. Pretty much the hopper is pretty much empty. The way you'll know when the machine is done and when you should finally turn it off is that when the pulp stops coming out and stops moving. It's currently still moving, so you want to keep an eye on the pulp. If it's still moving, keep the machine on, because there's still juice and pulp going through the machine to get extracted. The other thing, you want to look at the spout here, and if juice is continuing to come out and drip at any large clip, then you know it is still working. So at this point, it looks like the pulp has completely stopped moving and the juice is to a dribble. So now we can turn this off and we can press the stop button. Looks like it took a total of 5 minutes and 55 seconds to juice total time. But the thing is, I basically loaded it up and pre-cut the celery for about maybe a minute. And now at the end, I have about 1 minute to clean. So that means literally I have 2 minutes invested that made approximately 800 milliliters of juice in the Hurom H70. Literally 2 minutes, you could have your juice in the morning, and that's how much active work you're doing. I mean, yes, the juicer ran for longer, but once again, how much work is it going to take me to make my juice? In this case, about a 1 minute of chopping, loading things in, and then 1 minute at the end of just spraying things down to clean, and you could have your juice to drink. Next up, let's go ahead and look at more of the old-fashioned design, the Solostar 4, to see how long it's going to take and the quality of juice it's going to make as well. So we're going to go ahead and press the start button here. As it is running, we're going to turn the machine on, and now we got to take each stalk of celery, put it in the machine, and drop it in. This is running at 57 revolutions per minute, so that's how fast it juices, how fast it's spinning around. So you can see it's a slower process. The Hurom H70 that ran without me runs at 60 revolutions per minute, so both these are very slow juicers. Other auger juicers, such as this style, can run as fast as 80 or even 100 plus RPM. That may not get as high of a yield, but you will be done juicing faster. Let's see how long it takes to juice all this celery in the Solostar 4, pushing 1 stalk. at a time. This is so 1986. All right. We're going to speed this part of the video up to save you guys some time. Guys, I'm almost done. It's almost been basically 5 minutes of me literally working the whole entire time to get this celery juiced. Oh my gosh, I'm so over it. All right, last stock going in. Once again, same thing after the last stock goes in on the Solostar 4. You want to keep an eye on the pulp. If it's still moving, you're going to keep the machine on, and juice is continuing to dribble out. So pretty much we're just going to go ahead and let this run a little bit longer until the pulp stops moving and then the juice stops dripping. All right, it looks like we're pretty much done, and we're here at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. So literally the juicing time compared both, you know, that was like 5:50 or something, and this was 5:39. So like this basically took the same amount of time. The difference is with that, I was basically chopping and loading in for about 1 minute. The juicer did all the work without me. Then I have 1 minute of cleaning. With this, I have 5 minutes and 40 seconds of working time for the most part, and then I have about 3 minutes of cleaning. So now 8 minutes total work for me to make this much juice, whereas on this side, literally 2 minutes total of work to make that much juice. So on the Hurom H70, I would like to tip this up to get any last drips out. And once you do that, then you can close this spout cap so you don't get any drips. Over on the Solostar 4, I like to tip the machine up this direction and then this direction to get some drips out. And then you can move this out of the way, but then you'll have to move your pulp container in because this will still continue to drip. All right, next up, let's go ahead and do a close-up on the yields to see which juicer actually made more juice. All right, guys, let's go ahead and give you guys a close-up on the juices over on the Solostar 4 side. Looks like we're just under 800 milliliters of juice. I'm going to call that, 795 milliliters of juice. Also, I want you guys to notice the foam layer on the top, which actually isn't too bad. Smaller air bubbles in there. And next up, over on the Hurom H70, we look closely. It's once again under 800 milliliters of juice. I'm going to call that 780 milliliters. And also, too, the foam is a bit more. Not a lot more, but it's a bit more. So there's the close-up on the foam so you guys can compare them. And then also, you guys could see the actual juice yields. I mean, they're pretty much similar, but once again, the Solostar 4 did beat out the Hurom H70. Other thing to notice is that this juicer is a little bit lighter in color, and there seems to be like a little layering at the top, which is interesting. And then the Hurom H70 juice is a little bit darker. I mean, we did juice earlier in this, but now we do have some settling at the bottom. Actually, I am seeing a little bit of settling on the Solostar 4 now that it has been sitting. The settling, some companies will say the settling is bad. To me, the settling is very good because that shows different particulate sizes, and different particle sizes will have different nutrients. All right, so clearly Solostar 4 made about, 15 to 20 milliliters more juice. All right, guys, so you guys clearly saw the Solostar 4 made about 15 to 20 milliliters more of juice. And the question I have for you is it worth all the work to get that much more juice and actually a little bit less foam? Only you can decide. Well, you're also going to spend about half as much money as the Hurom H70, but I guess it comes down to how much is your time worth? If you have a really good job, get paid lots of money, your time is a lot more valuable. But if you're retired, then maybe not. Maybe you want to sit there and push the produce in. Me these days, I'm always using the Hurom H70 unless I'm making a video because this was requested to pull out the Solostar 4. Next up, let's go ahead and taste test each of the juices. This is the Solostar 4 juice. We will try first on camera for you guys. That's a nice celery. I do taste some fine particulate in there. This juice has not been sieved. Reminds me of like a celery soup for some reason. I'm not sure why. And now we're going to try the Hurom H70 juice. Once again, straight up. And these are basically the bags of pre-washed organic celery sticks you can buy at places like Costco. Interesting. So I'm tasting a little bit less particulate in the Hurom H70. Once again, I am pouring off this top. It's highly probable and likely that all the big particulate did sink to the bottom because it has settled a while. And if we let this sit a while, the particulate in the juice would also settle over time. That being said, I'll say both these machines do put some particulate or pulp in the juice. In my opinion, that is a good thing. We want particulate in our juice. You know, not too much, but, you know, some particulate is a good thing because we're getting additional fibers and additional nutrients that are attached to that particulate as well. That's one of the things I like about the Hurom H70 is that it does tend to put more particulate or pulp in your juice to have a more pulpy juice that is, of course, more nutritious in the end. Also, of course, it is also a lot easier to clean. So yeah, the juice taste test, I mean, they taste pretty similar. I'm not going to say that tastes better. They both taste quite good. I don't really taste any kind of oxidation flavor in either of those juices. So that's good. Next up, let's go ahead and compare the pulps on each machine so we can see what they look like. So this is quite interesting. You guys can see the pulp on the Solostar 4. Definitely ground up. Looks a little bit lighter in color, whereas this is a bit darker in color. Of course, I did pre-cut the celery over on this side, so on the celery on the Solostar 4, there will be a little bit longer strings. I want to see the fineness of the grind here. I mean, this is still quite dry. I mean, this is still quite wet, actually. So if we pick up a bunch of this, squeeze it. I mean, even out of the Solostar 4, I'm squeezing wet celery pulp. Hurom H70, I'm still squeezing wet celery pulp as well. Now, on both these machines, you could actually put the pulp back through the machine and run it through. This, of course, you'd have to do each handful, manually push it through. With the Hurom H70, you can rejuice your pulp automatically. Link down below to my video where I share how I do this when I juice large volumes of celery. All right, so I mean, both these have pretty much similar wetnesses. They didn't get the pulp super dry like you can use a press style like a pure juicer. Link down below to that video where I juice celery in the pure and get the pulp sawdust dry. Of course, also vacuum juicing celery will get the pulp sawdust dry. Once again, link down below to the video. Pure juicer versus vacuum blended celery juice. I get pretty much the same yield, the same dryness of the pulp, right, at a fraction of the price. But once again, a lot more labor. So at the end of this video, I'm going to declare the winner of this episode, the Hurom H70, because it literally revolutionizes juicing. Made a little bit less yield, but the time involved for me to make juice is significantly less time, which is completely amazing. If you want the easiest way to juice, the answer is clear. The Hurom H70 is the machine you will want to get. Right now, you can save 10% off and get the lowest price on the Hurom H70 by using the coupon code CELERY at huromusa.com. If you guys want the highest extraction, most yield, and most nutrition out of your celery, then actually you want to get a vacuum juicing setup. So that's why you want to watch the video link down below where I compare the Hurom H70 against vacuum juicing so you can see the process involved and see the major difference in yield you will get. But once again, that you're going to do a lot more work, a lot more effort. You know, like this is about 8 minutes of time complete from pushing produce in to cleaning, whereas this was 2 minutes. I personally wouldn't go for a Solostar 4 in this day and age in 2025 when it came out back in the day and they didn't have hopper juicers. It was great. For some of you guys, it still will make sense. If you guys want to juice a lot of leafy greens, you know, that can tend to foam up on a Hurom H70 if you don't have the right recipe dialed in. But then again, I make my green juices in the Hurom H70. Actually, link down below to my video where I make my green juices. And of course, if you guys want to buy the Solostar 4, because it is half the price of the Hurom H70, make sure you guys use a coupon code DJ at trybest.com. Once again, these links are down below. Coupon codes down below. They support me so I can continue to make these educational videos for you guys and show you guys the truth about juicers, something that other channels that promote juicers may not do because they may be tied into one brand or another, and I represent all the major brands out there and have videos on them on my channel as well. So I like to give you the most unbiased opinions based on me juicing for the last 30 years. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please be sure to give this a big thumbs up. More importantly, share this with other people that want to juice celery, maybe that they're on the medical medium program, so they could learn the best juicer of 2025 to juice the celery, which is, in my opinion, the Hurom H70. Simply because it takes you less time, you're going to do it more often. Also, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below so you miss my new and upcoming episodes. I'll be coming in every 5 to 7 days. You know, to wash up what you'll be learning, what new juices I'll be unboxing, pitting against each other, or juicing knowledge bombs I'll be dropping on you. And I wouldn't want you to miss any single episode. So make sure you click the little bell so you get notified as my new videos come out. And finally, be sure to check past episodes. Past episodes are wealth of knowledge. Over 750 episodes at this time on this channel dedicated to teach you guys all about the different juicers and equipment that allow you to process your fruits and vegetables in the best ways possible. Links down below for my favorite videos that I've referenced in this episode, as well as other videos I made with the Hurom H70 and Solostar 4 over the years. So with that, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for YouTube visitors.